Squarespace versus WordPress. Look, I've built over 300 websites over the last decade on every platform you could think of. So when someone asks me this question, which platform should I use, Squarespace or WordPress? I don't guess. Today, I'm gonna take you through 7 head-to-head rounds of both of these platforms so that by the end of this video, you know exactly which platform is perfect for the site that you're building and which one to walk away from. Now, before we dive in, I have 2 resources for you. Throughout the video, I'm going to be taking you through a table on my screen that I custom built for this video, and I'll have that link down below, especially because we won't be covering every single detail on the table in the video. Second, if you do decide to get started with either tool, I have links down below for you. Plus, you'll get an extra discount when you get started with Squarespace. And yes, this video is sponsored by Squarespace, so thank you to the team at Squarespace for sponsoring today's video. Now, here's what most comparison videos get wrong about these 2 tools. They treat them as if they are 2 website builders, but the reality is they're not. Squarespace is a website builder, and it's a complete platform with your templates, your hosting, your domain, your SEO tools, marketing features, e-commerce, and AI tools all built in. Where on the other hand, WordPress isn't even a website builder. WordPress is a place that you could piecemeal everything you want for your website. So you'll need to source your own hosting, you'll need to buy your domain and connect it, you'll need to find a template, you'll need to install a page builder, install an SEO plugin, a marketing plugin, install an e-commerce plugin, and so on and so forth. And as you know, you're gonna have to make sure all of those things play nicely together. So as we get into the differences here, this is gonna show up in every single round we go through. Let's start with the first round, ease of use. I don't know how to say this, but this isn't even close. Squarespace is built for one person to launch a beautiful website in a weekend. You pick a template, swap in your content, and then you hit publish. The drag and drop editor is intuitive, and the mobile version of your site is automatically handled. When it comes to design, they have a huge collection of fonts built in, the spacing, the color system, it's all designed to look good, even if you've never built a website before. And layer on top of that, Squarespace's AI tools, they're baked right into the editor, which is gonna help you generate copy, suggest layouts, and clean up your content as you go. On the other hand, WordPress is not intuitive. Out of the box, it gives you an empty dashboard that was designed 20 plus years ago. So to actually build something modern, you're gonna need a page builder like Elementor, Divi, Bricks, whatever you decide to use, which is a whole separate ecosystem and learning curve. And what's most frustrating in my opinion about ease of use when it comes to WordPress is that they really only have 2 core content sections, posts and pages. But the reality is most websites have so many different layers that you need to consider for it to be a modern and beautiful website. For example, if you have an events calendar, if you're running e-commerce, if you have a portfolio, none of those work intuitively inside of WordPress. And then when you start adding and layering in more and more plugins, you're going to break your site at least once. And when you do, the support is not a chat window, it's a forum where a lot of the posts could come from 2022 or older. So if you're launching your first site, your business, your portfolio, a consultancy, Squarespace is gonna get you live in a weekend. No need to patch together 17 different tools. You could just get started with Squarespace and get everything you need from A to Z. So for round 1, Squarespace wins by a mile. Round 2 is gonna be templates and design quality. Now, this is where Squarespace's reputation comes from. Squarespace templates are designed by an in-house team, and they obsess over typography, spacing, and visual hierarchy. And that's why they are award-winning templates. Every template is also mobile responsive out of the box. And you could go in there and adjust the design system to your liking. Now, take a look at my screen here. I'm looking at one of their templates. You could use this for your website today. You could take a look at different color palettes and see what it looks like on the site. And you could also pick different fonts and see what that will look like as well. So we could click here and see what that looks like. That's really cool. Then here, it's like very interesting. All right, this is interesting as well. And then we can figure out what we like and love and get started with the right template. Now, here is another example. This is a really beautiful website. This section right here is amazing. But let's say you want to see it in a different color palette. Well, you can. And with just a click, you're going to get a full variation and see what the site looks and feels like with changing the color palette. So in my opinion, you can't really build an ugly Squarespace site. The platform in some ways just doesn't let you. On the other hand, WordPress templates are a free-for-all. Some of them are stunning and a lot of them are dated. Many of these are sold by third parties on marketplaces, which means quality is going to vary wildly. And once the template is installed, you truly are at the mercy of whoever made it. And that's whether they keep it updated or not, and whether it's compatible with the plugins that you want to use, and if it's still going to continue working after the next major WordPress update. So if it is important for you to be able to rewrite the source code of your website template, WordPress is going to let you do that. And that is a real advantage if you are a developer or you have a developer on your team. But if you're trying to decide with the right platform, that means you probably are not a developer who's watching this. So if you do need that level of control, you probably already know it and you probably wouldn't be watching this video. So for most people watching this video, the round 2 verdict is going to be Squarespace again. If you are building a marketing website, you don't need access to the source code. You need a site that looks great and stays consistent, and that's Squarespace. Third, let's talk about e-commerce. If you want to sell online, Squarespace has e-commerce built into the platform. You're going to be able to have product pages set up automatically, inventory, checkout, payment processing through Squarespace Payments and PayPal, abandoned cart emails, gift cards, subscriptions, and digital downloads. If you want to sell services as well, you could do that inside of Squarespace, and you could even generate invoices as well. Literally, it is all there. On the other hand, when it comes to WordPress e-commerce, that means using a separate tool, which is called WooCommerce. WooCommerce is a plugin you install on top of WordPress. It's powerful, and I will give it that, but it's also another thing to maintain and learn. And that means there's also the possibility of it breaking. So if you're gonna use it, you're gonna need WordPress, WooCommerce, and additional plugins to make it all work. Those are all separate vendors, separate subscriptions, and a separate point of failure. So my general advice here is if you are running a basic to mid-sized store under a few thousand SKUs, standard products, and normal checkout, Squarespace is going to handle it cleanly. On the other hand, if you're running a massive store or you need custom logic for your checkout process that is really unique to your business, WooCommerce is going to be a better option. So you're also signing up for a much bigger maintenance project. Overall, for round 3, the verdict is split. For a marketing site that sells products, Squarespace is going to be cleaner, faster to launch with fewer things that can break. But if you do need really complex e-commerce workflows, WooCommerce may offer you more control for those specific use cases. Round 4, let's talk about marketing features, because what is it to have a beautiful website when no one sees it? Remember in the beginning, we talked about Squarespace being an all-in-one tool and then WordPress being more of a puzzle that you fit a lot of pieces together and hope it all works out? This is where WordPress doesn't have a lot going for it. Squarespace gives you SEO tools built in. I'm talking about the latest tools in optimizing for SEO and AEO. At the same time, inside of Squarespace, they have email campaigns. So you could set out custom campaigns, and this could be a whole video on its own, but we're talking about sharing recent blog posts, products in your store, and a lot more, all from within Squarespace. Then when it comes to things like social integrations, scheduling posts, analytics, pop-ups, announcement bar, lead capture forms, all of that stuff I just mentioned, it's built in. You can launch a site, capture an email, send a campaign, and track the result all from within one platform. With WordPress, every one of these things is going to be a separate plugin, and this is what's going to really matter. Even if you have a developer build the site for you, you're going to need to market it, and then you're going to need to plug in another tool, and that's going to help with a certain aspect of your business, but then you're going to need another tool for another aspect of the business. So just for example, let's go back to the e-commerce store that wants to send marketing emails. They're going to need WordPress, WooCommerce, and an email marketing tool. And when it comes to SEO, you're gonna need SEO plugins. You wanna check the analytics of your site? Well, another plugin as well. I think you get the picture. Most of those plugins are gonna have a free tier, but most of them are gonna have a paid tier that you're gonna need to sign up for. So if you're a small or medium-sized business owner, your job is managing your business, not becoming a web developer. And Squarespace is gonna let you actually do the marketing work versus managing the tools. Round 4, you already know my answer, it's Squarespace. Now, in round 5, let's talk about integrations. WordPress has tens of thousands of plugins. If you could imagine a feature, there is probably a plugin for it. If you need something extremely specific, like a custom booking system that integrates with a specific industry tool, there is probably an answer out there for you. And Squarespace may not, but here's the catch. That flexibility cuts both ways. And if you've never dealt with this before, this is very important to know. Every plugin you add is one more dependency, which means one more vendor and one more update that can break other things on your site. So Squarespace is gonna have a smaller pool of options, but every one of their integrations is curated. So whether that's PayPal, MailChimp, Google Workspace, Acuity for scheduling, OpenTable, Zapier, those tools are gonna work and they're not gonna conflict with each other. That's something you could be sure of. So for round 5, if you are looking for the best insurance policy, the most amount of options and customizations and plugins and additional integrations, WordPress is the obvious winner. But on the other hand, Squarespace's curated integrations cover what you probably actually need. Now, round 6, let's talk about domains. Now, this is kind of boring, but this stuff really matters. With Squarespace, you could register your domain right inside the platform. I actually believe they are the second or third largest domain registrar in the world. And they will give you a free custom domain if you sign up for the annual plan for your first year. And this is where it gets important because they provide automatic SSL, which is the security of your website, which is really important if you are doing any type of transactions on your site, or if you want to rank with SEO, as well as the DNS is configured for you. You don't have to learn what a CNAME is or an A record or any of that. You will just click a few buttons, it will connect automatically, and you're good to go. If you want to set up email through Google Workspace, that's just a few clicks as well, and you could do it all within the platform. With WordPress, you are buying a domain from another tool like GoDaddy, Namecheap, or something else. Then you're pointing it to the hosting provider, which is not WordPress. You need to find a host as well. But then you also need to set up the SSL as well, which you could do through your host or through a tool like Cloudflare. Then you need to configure the actual DNS settings. You need to make sure the CNAMEs and A records are set up properly and do that all manually. If you are someone who has never done what I just described or don't understand what I just said, which trust me, it is a very confusing topic, this round, the verdict is gonna go to Squarespace. It is the same website with your domain, so that means a lot less headache. Now, round 7 may be the most important for a lot of you watching. This is going to come down to pricing. With everything we've discussed, let's cover what you actually get. On the surface, WordPress looks a lot cheaper. WordPress.org itself is free and open source software. So if you look at what does this platform cost versus the other, WordPress wins automatically. However, that's not what you're actually paying. Now, to do this comparison, I'm just gonna lay out a basic website that we're gonna build and then do a comparison around it. The site we're gonna build is gonna have a good number of pages, it's gonna have e-commerce, and it's gonna have a blog, and we're gonna wanna make sure the SEO is optimized. So those 4 things are where we're gonna start. With Squarespace, you pay one monthly fee, somewhere between $25 a month up to $139 a month if you're paying monthly. So that's on the high end. It can go down all the way to $19 a month if you pay annually. And that's gonna give you everything I just described, starting with the basic plan. You could go up from there and get more, but any of the plans is gonna include your hosting and your SSL certificate, unlimited bandwidth, and 24/7 customer support, as well as all the other features that you get that I haven't even mentioned yet. With WordPress, you're gonna need hosting, which could be anywhere between $5 to $40 a month. Then you're gonna need a premium template that's gonna be anywhere between $50 to $100, even $300 one time, and some are ongoing. And then you're also gonna need to pay for WooCommerce, and you're also gonna need to pay for an SEO plugin as well, not to mention forms or security. And just like that, it's added up to $200 to maybe $600 a year. And remember, if anything breaks and you don't know what broke, you're gonna have to figure it out on your own, or hire a developer to help you. Now, this final round, the verdict is gonna be Squarespace. It's gonna win against its total cost. And when I consider cost, I also like to consider value. For example, if I have to spend weeks learning and building the website, that is part of the cost. So based on what we said in round 1 with ease of use and round 7, these two really complement each other because Squarespace makes it easy to get started, and at the same time, the pricing is really good, in my opinion. Quick note on a few things that I didn't touch on in the rounds in depth. SEO is really important, and Squarespace handles the basics natively. Clean URLs, auto sitemaps, mobile optimization, fast load times, structured data, and a lot more. WordPress can technically do all of that too, but only if you install and configure, as you guessed it, another plugin. When it comes to speed and security, Squarespace handles hosting, security, updates, SSL backups, and uptime automatically. With WordPress, that's on you and your host provider. So as someone who has developed and launched over 300 websites, if you're building a marketing website, a business site, a consultancy, portfolio, blog, small to medium sized business, an online store, Squarespace is the right choice for almost everyone watching this video. It's faster to launch, it's easier to maintain, it looks better with less effort. My recommendation for 95% of users is go with Squarespace. You'll be live in a weekend and have a beautiful site. If you do need heavy customizations, massive amounts of control of the source code, and if you're doing e-commerce and need a very custom logic for checkout, WordPress is gonna serve you really well. Don't forget, both are linked down below in the description, and if you do use that link with the code down below, you are gonna save an additional discount on your plan. And if you do want an hour tutorial of how to get started with Squarespace, I do have a video that I will link here on the screen for you to check out. Thank you so much for watching. If you want more content like this, subscribe. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments below. And with that, I'll see you in the next one. Peace.